Shay, if you don't save your money, you will suffer in this life. You will suffer in this life. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then my name is Shay Blogs, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. In today's video, I am going to go through some budgeting tips and some budgeting habits that I have implemented, which have essentially resulted in me being able to save a substantial amount of money in a relatively short period. In this video, I will also share with you a very, I can't stress it enough guys, a very useful resource that I have recently incorporated into my saving and budgeting strategy that has made a huge difference to me, because it means that I am able every month to manually input the earnings per month on a monthly basis, and I'm able to compare how much I've actually saved in comparison to how much I expected to save. So that's useful because a lot of us, we enter the new year, we set lots of New Year's resolutions for ourselves, and for a lot of us it's to budget and it's to save, I don't know, 6,000 by the end of the year or 10,000. But the reason why a lot of us slip up and a lot of us do not meet that target is because we are not holding ourselves accountable throughout the year to ensure that we are actually meeting the expectations that we promised ourselves that we would reach. And I feel as though this spreadsheet most certainly helps us to hold ourselves accountable to our goals and to our budgeting. I think before we begin though, I need to make a quick disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor. I am not qualified in any way, shape or form to be a financial advisor. I am merely sharing with you the practices that I apply that have ultimately resulted in me being a successful budgeter and a successful saver. Okay, let's get into it. So a little bit about me. How I got into saving. To be honest with you, my dad always told me, Shay, if you don't save your money, you will suffer in this life. You will suffer in this life. So imagine a little 8-9-year-old hearing that from their parents. But anyway, it's something that has stuck with me. And I have been able to save money, you guys, on I didn't even have a salary, in fact. Until recently, I have always been paid by the hour, in fact. And so it's true that on a lower income, it's more difficult to save, but it's still possible. And again, with this spreadsheet that I will show you, you are able to record all of your personal data on this spreadsheet, and it gives you a full overview and a full picture of what is feasible for you. Because budgeting is always relative. It's relative to your salary, it's relative to your mindset, and it's relative to your motivation and your determination levels. And I keep waffling on about this magical resource, but what I like about it and how it's helped me is that I've been able to really see in one place all of my fixed expenses and compare it to my variable expenses and how I can keep my variable expenses at a minimum. And again, on the topic of budgeting on a lower salary and saving on a lower salary, you do know that there were definitely rich people who suffered during this pandemic because they were not saving any money. They were living at their means or even above their means. You do know that. It doesn't matter what salary you are on. It doesn't matter. Because if you're not financially literate, it doesn't matter. A lot of wealthy people who had high salaries and who lost their jobs, unfortunately, they were not in a position to recover from that. They had no savings. And that was the reality of a few people. I know of a couple of people, in fact, who were on high salaries, but they were not smart with their money and they didn't budget. And that's why it is so very important to ensure that you are budgeting. Okay, so tip number 1 for me, and I'm putting this at number 1 because honestly, tip number 1 for me, I am putting this at number 1 because honestly, this has been the one single habit that has been critical to my saving habits, and that is using cash. We are slowly but surely moving into a cashless society, all right? There are several benefits. There are several benefits to that, but it also has its cons. Imagine if you had to withdraw £2,000 for that Gucci bag and you had to give the cashier £2,000 in cash. I think it would help you think once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times before handing over that wad of cash, because it's a lot of money. Physically handing over money to pay for items is painful. You're literally seeing the money that you worked for leave your fingertips and essentially put it in the possession of somebody else. But when you pay with card, you don't realize the money you're spending because it's not physical. It's nothing physical. It's just the number in your account. So what? You know, you don't actually see the money going anywhere. My second tip is that I organize my priorities, but on a monthly basis, by which I mean, I don't know, do I need a new pair of jeans this month because my jeans have torn? These are the kind of things that I'm talking about, where you decide on your priorities, but your priorities can honestly change from month to month. Who knows what happens? I mean, for example, in February, your phone may have broken, and in March, you may need to purchase a new phone. Then you will simply need to reallocate your expenses and just work around what you have, essentially. And if it means not eating out, if it means completely getting rid of your eating out allowance, your non-essentials allowance for the month, then that's what you have to do if you're serious about reaching your goal, that is. My third habit is that I completely avoid impulse purchases. I do not buy on impulse. Honey, I do not buy on impulse. If there is a Gucci belt that I want, I think about it. I think sometimes I even wait a couple of months, and if that Gucci belt is still on my mind, I adjust my budget, or what I would do is I will not buy anything for 3 months so that I can comfortably afford that Gucci belt and to ensure that it's within my financial capability. And you know what, right? You may even realize that after a couple of days or a couple of weeks pass, your desire for that item may even just diminish. And that is often the case with impulse buys and with non-essential buys. Do you really need to think about it? Like, don't go onto Instagram. The thing about Instagram is that Instagram is very, very wicked. Instagram will tell you to monetize your skills, invest, buy your house by 18 years old. It will tell you to buy, I don't know, a G class by 23. It will emphasize all of these indicators of success. And yet at the same time, it will encourage
over-consumerism. It encourages people to live beyond their means. It encourages people to get into premature debt.
Because when we go into Instagram, all we see is
lavish living, lavish living, lavish living, lavish living.
And it really does, I think, blur our own perspective. And it really doesn't help with impulse buys. Don't allow yourself to be sucked into the culture of consumerism on Instagram. Babes, your favorite influencer who posted a picture of that Hermes bag, who posted a picture of that Gucci, of those Gucci slides, you actually don't know what that influencer has been through in order to simply take that picture. In fact, you don't even know if it's even theirs. And why should you even care about that? Don't allow yourself to be over influenced by Instagram and by influencers. Don't allow it, because it only deters you from your own financial goals. So now on to the star of the show. Right now, I'm going to quickly demonstrate to you how you can use the budgeting tool created by the Millionaire Mindset Club. Now, the Millionaire Mindset Club, first of all, they're on Instagram, and there is a website where you can buy the spreadsheet, the budgeting spreadsheet. I have mine, and by the way, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not being paid to say any of this. This is just a genuine recommendation I really do believe in this tool. As I've said, this is a tool that I use, and it has absolutely helped me to optimize my spending habits, and it really does help me to view everything in one place and budget myself effectively on a month by month basis. And I place emphasis on month by month because a lot of spreadsheets that I have seen, they only allow you to set the budget according to your salary. But a lot of people have multiple streams of income. A lot of people are paid overtime, which means that their monthly earnings fluctuate on a monthly basis. Anyway, let me stop waffling and let's get into it. So let me share this screen. So on the first page, you have clear guidance on how to use this tracker. All right. So I won't bore you with all of these details, as you can actually read it, as you can read it in your spare time. But essentially what this is telling you is that the green cells are the only cells where you are able to input your data. Everything else is done automatically, is calculated automatically. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs at the bottom here, as you can see. The first tab is the instructions tab. The second tab is the overview tab. The third is your budget for the year and your 2020, and the fourth budget, oh my God. The fourth tab, is it basically requires you to input your monthly earnings here as well, and on your and in the budget tab. The budget tab, sorry you guys, just to quickly clarify, I keep referring to the so-called tabs, and what I mean by that is essentially the tabs that will appear at the bottom of the Excel spreadsheet. Is what you expect to achieve. The actual tab is what you actually achieve. So it's really good because it compares and contrasts expectations versus reality. And then in the final tab, we have the savings tab, and this is my favorite tab. I'd like to start on this tab actually. So if you look here, you can see that in this green section, it says 70% of monthly net income to be saved. Now, this is something that you can alter according to that. Sorry, this is something that you can adapt according to what you want to achieve from your savings and from your budgeting. Whether it be 70%, 50%, whatever your salary allows you to save, essentially, realistically. So here we can put it at 65. Let's say that I want to save 65% of my monthly net income. All right. Now let's do some calculations here. So what I like about this is that, again, there are in the income section, you see that you have employment. So it can be your 9 to 5 job. And anyway, by the way, and by the way, you can edit this. All of this can be edited because it's green. So here you can just put employment or job, 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it. And let's say in January, I earned £2,000 from my 9 to 5, and that was net. But let's say in January, I earned £500 in overtime, but my base salary is £1,500 per month. And so that's what I took home in February and March. And let's say that that's what I'll also take home in April, 1,500. Just like, oops, not 15,000, girl. A girl can dream, but there we go. And let's also say that I have a second stream of income. Let's say that I babysit a couple of times a month. And in total, that leaves me with an extra £30 per month. And so that is how you would use this section to record your multiple streams of income. If you have multiple streams, I don't know, maybe you have dividends payments, maybe you have a side hustle, maybe you have a couple of side hustles which also generate additional income for you on a monthly basis, but that also fluctuates on a monthly basis. because for a lot of us, no 2 months are the same. So you may be asking, all right, so I earned £2,000 in January. I then earned 1,500 in February. So how does this saving of 65% come into play? The beauty of this is that this 65% is relative to every month. So it's calculated on a monthly basis. So in January, you're expected to save 65% of £2,030. And in February, you're expected to save 65% of £1,530. Do you understand? It's just like that. And so here, if you go to the savings tab, you will see that you would be expected to save 700, and I hope you can see, maybe I should zoom in a little bit. Can I zoom in? Yes, that's perfect. So here you will see that in January 2020, you would have, if this is just an example, by the way, of course, the one that you will purchase, the years and the dates have all been amended. Anyway, so in January, you would have been expected to save £758.84, and in February that number obviously changes because you earn less money, but you still want to save 65%. So the beauty of this is that the calculation is done for you automatically. And then in March, let's say that you had a month off of babysitting or your side hustle or whatever it was. Let's just say that you didn't do any babysitting this month. So it calculates the 65% based upon that 1,500. And here you see that you were expected to save £439.68. All right. Now let me explain something to you. This spreadsheet will not work unless you populate both tabs, the budget tab and the actual tab. That is crucial. So this is okay. It's okay to have this £30 there because that's what maybe you didn't anticipate that you wouldn't be babysitting in March. But if the actual tab is not populated, your calculations here will be way off. So it's important that you populate both tabs, you guys. So let's move on to the second section. Here you have your direct debits, or what I like to call your fixed expenses. And these are just examples, honestly. And here you have the type of fixed expense, you have the date here. So as I said before, you only populate the green tabs. You have so here, let's just say that your Vodafone and insurance, they come out on the 18th of the month. Whoops. So let's say it comes out on the 18th of the month, and you see how when you put 18 here in this small section, let me zoom in for you. When you input 18 here in this little section, it automatically changes here. So there's no need for you to even be able to edit these sections. The green sections are more than sufficient. I also need to highlight here that the reason why the total income for February is highlighted as red here is because you earned less money than the previous month. This is really good because again, it holds you accountable, and you can see that you earned less money in February than you did in January. You can also edit the total value of the expense here under the expenses. So let's just say it costs 60. All right, and then it automatically changes for the rest of the months, for the rest of the year. Okay, all right. So again, the same can be done for, I don't know, Spotify. Again, you can change the date that the Spotify payment is withdrawn from your account, etc., etc., etc. These are here just so that I can demonstrate how to use the spreadsheet. All right. So payments. So here you have the variable expenses. So eating out, clothes and shopping. So eating out, clothes, shopping, groceries, transport, hairdressers, barbers, non-essentials. I guess the date here doesn't really matter, which is why you're not able to edit this. It's just automatically set to the last day of the month, I assume, because it's just automatically set to the last day of the month, I assume, because it's a variable expense. I mean, you can spend this money at whatever time of the month, but the point is that you don't exceed the total expense amount that you would put in this column here. All right. And then you can see the total outgoings on a monthly basis. All right. You can see your total outgoings on a monthly basis here listed below. All right. By the way, these are all yellow because, of course, I haven't populated every single cell. So the color, that's why here you even see red, because it thinks that I haven't earned any money in this month, but that's just because I haven't populated the field. First of all, guys, I'd like to quickly apologize for the lack of audio at this stage in the presentation. As you can see, I had no clue that I'd lost audio, but it shouldn't impact the presentation too significantly, as I was only presenting the final tab, which was the overview tab, and I will quickly summarize here. So just to let you know, this overview tab will not work unless both the 2021 budget and the 2021 actual tabs are populated. I don't know if I already explained in this video, but here you can see, by the way, I removed the 30 just for the sake of explaining the overview tab, because I think it would be a lot easier for me to explain that way. In January, so this is the actual tab I have open. In January, we earned 2,000, February 1,500, and in March 1,500 again. Down here, you see that the 1,500 is red, and that is because there's obviously a £500, €500, doesn't matter the currency, but there is definitely a difference of 500 here. And this here is orange because there is no difference. So back to the overview tab. So here you see that the first table sets out the numbers for the budget tab. Again, the budget tab is what you plan to save. This is how you plan your finances to pan out throughout the year. So in the actual, which is what we should be paying attention to here, I would say, you can actually see that your total income for January was 2,000. Your total expenses amounted to 832.56, and you can see that you expected your expenses to amount to 1,022.56. All right, so you can see that here in the net under the actual, you are in the green, which means you have a total underspend of 190, which means you are 190 pounds richer, if you want to call it that. So again, when it's green, it basically means that you are good, or that you have saved more or spent less than you expected to. And this figure can be read in the budget versus actual variance. And this is essentially what this is telling you. Again, I have not populated all months, so that is why the figures seem a bit weird here. So yes. Well, not weird, but you can see that everything is green, and that is essentially because in these months you obviously haven't spent any yet, because these months are yet to come. And down here, Millionaire Mindset Club, they are endorsers, you can say, of the online banks such as Revolut, Monzo, because when you have these banks, it's a lot easier to track what you're spending. And so if you have these kind of bank accounts with the online banks, then you can also input the balance or the vault balance down here. And also you can record the live balance, and this can be recorded in the savings tab down here in these green cells. Okay, I'd like to quickly take the opportunity to thank you all who made it to the end of this very lengthy presentation. I'd just like to let you know that all further details will be down below in the description box, so please do check it out, and this includes the link that will take you to the website where you can purchase this spreadsheet. I believe it's £4.90 or £4.91. Very, very inexpensive. And again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. If you'd like to see more videos on personal finance and topics related to this, then just let me know and we will see what we can do. Bye guys.